Karmic Truths, Breaking the Cycle of Repetition. Introduction, The Eternal Wheel. Imagine a great wheel, spinning endlessly on its axis, each rotation carrying the echoes of past movements and setting the trajectory for those to come. This wheel represents karma, the law of cause and effect that governs the rhythms of existence. It is both teacher and taskmaster, a mirror reflecting the consequences of our thoughts, words, and actions. For many, this wheel feels unyielding, a force perpetuating patterns of repetition. Yet, within its cyclical motion lies the secret to liberation. The power to stop the wheel is not beyond reach, it lies within us. Karma is often misunderstood as punishment or fate, an unchangeable script written in the ink of past lives or choices. But karma, at its core, is neutral, a universal law that offers clarity rather than condemnation. It is the thread that connects the fabric of our actions, weaving patterns of growth, learning, and transformation. Understanding these patterns is the first step to breaking free from the cycles that bind us. This book is an invitation to step into the role of conscious creator. It will guide you through the intricate webs of karma, revealing how your actions, intentions, and awareness shape the experiences you encounter. Together, we will explore the karmic truths that underlie life's challenges and triumphs, discovering tools to untangle repetitive patterns and rewrite your karmic narrative. The journey begins by observing the wheel, recognizing its rhythm and understanding its lessons. From there, you will learn how to turn the friction of karmic resistance into the fuel for transformation. Each chapter will serve as a stepping stone, leading you closer to the freedom and clarity that come with breaking the cycle of repetition. As you read, envision yourself as both the wheel and the hand that guides it. You hold the ability to shift its course, to pause its relentless spin, and to direct its energy toward growth and liberation. This is not merely a process of breaking free. It is a process of becoming, transforming karma from a force of repetition into a catalyst for transcendence. Step forward and take the reins of your karmic wheel. The journey begins now. Before we start, if you're here to grow and tap into something deeper, like and subscribe. Your support helps us awaken other minds and continue sharing these insights with those seeking transformation. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Chapter 1, The Karmic Web. Picture a spider's web, glistening with morning dew. Each delicate strand is intricately woven, stretching outward in perfect symmetry. Every movement upon the web sends vibrations rippling across its structure, affecting each connection. This is karma, a vast and intricate web, where every action reverberates through the fabric of existence. Every choice you make, every word you speak, and every intention you hold creates a ripple, linking you to the countless threads of others' lives and the universe itself. The karmic web is not merely external, it also resides within us. Our thoughts, emotions, and past actions create internal patterns that determine how we perceive and respond to the world. This web binds us to cycles of repetition, but it also offers the potential for freedom. When we become aware of the threads we've woven, we gain the power to transform them. As we explore the nature of karma, this chapter invites you to see the patterns of your own web. What threads are tangled or frayed? What cycles repeat themselves in your relationships, choices, or emotions? Understanding the interconnectedness of karma is the first step toward unraveling the strands that no longer serve you. By looking closely at the web, you will find the clarity and empowerment needed to begin entangling its complexity. Let us trace the threads together. The karmic web is vast, stretching beyond individual lives and actions, weaving together the energy of every thought, word, and deed into an interconnected tapestry. Imagine the spider weaving its web. It moves with precision and purpose, each strand a deliberate act of creation. Yet, unlike the spider, humans often weave unconsciously, unaware of the patterns forming beneath their actions. Recognizing this unconscious weaving is the first step toward understanding karma. At its core, karma is neither punishment nor reward. It is a principle of balance, a cosmic mirror reflecting the energy we project into the world. When we act with kindness, we strengthen the harmonious threads of the web. When we act with anger or selfishness, the vibrations we create reverberate back to us, often in ways we don't anticipate. Karma doesn't judge. It simply ensures that the energy we send outward returns, offering opportunities for growth and learning. Consider the ripples on a pond. A single stone dropped into the water creates waves that expand outward, touching every part of the surface. Similarly, our actions, no matter how small, send ripples into the karmic web. These ripples may not return immediately, but eventually, they complete their journey. This process isn't linear. It transcends time and space, connecting us to past and future actions, even across lifetimes. The karmic web extends beyond personal actions. It ties us to others, forming relationships and situations that reflect shared energy. Have you ever noticed patterns in your relationships, recurring conflicts, familiar dynamics, or even the feeling of déjà vu with someone you've just met? These are manifestations of the karmic web. The people we encounter and the situations we face are not random. They are mirrors reflecting the energy we carry and the lessons we need to learn. For example, a person struggling with trust may find themselves repeatedly in relationships where trust is tested. This is not punishment but an invitation to confront and heal the underlying issue. The web presents opportunities for growth, but without awareness, we risk becoming entangled in its repeating cycles. To begin entangling the karmic web, we must first identify its patterns. Start by observing recurring themes in your life. What situations seem to repeat themselves? What emotions or reactions surface consistently? These patterns are clues, pointing to the threads that need attention. A woman named Clara provides a powerful illustration of this concept. Throughout her life, Clara found herself in jobs where she felt undervalued. Each time she left one position, the same dynamic appeared in the next. At first, she blamed external circumstances, difficult bosses, unsupportive coworkers. But as she began to examine her patterns, she realized that her own feelings of unworthiness were woven into the web of her experiences. By addressing this belief and learning to value herself, Clara changed the energy she projected, and the web responded. In her next job, she was appreciated and respected in ways she had never experienced before. Awareness is the key to transforming the karmic web. When we observe the threads we've woven, we can begin to disentangle ourselves from cycles of repetition. This doesn't mean erasing the past or undoing actions. It means shifting our relationship with the energy we've created. By bringing conscious intention to our choices, we can weave new patterns that align with our highest potential. One practice to cultivate awareness is journaling. Take time to reflect on your day. What actions did you take? What emotions did you feel? How did others respond to your energy? As you write, look for patterns, similar reactions, recurring challenges, or familiar emotions. These are the threads of your karmic web. With each observation, you gain the clarity to transform those patterns into something new. Another tool is meditation. Visualize your karmic web as a glowing network of threads. See where the strands are tangled or frayed. Imagine yourself smoothing and strengthening the web, bringing balance to its structure. This practice not only enhances awareness but also empowers you to actively shape the energy of your life. The karmic web is not a trap, it is a teacher. Each thread holds a lesson, an opportunity to grow and evolve. By understanding the web's interconnectedness, we see that every action, no matter how small, carries significance. This awareness inspires us to act with greater intention and compassion, knowing that we are not only shaping our own lives but also contributing to the collective energy of the universe. Breaking free from karmic cycles doesn't happen overnight. It is a journey of self-discovery, requiring patience and persistence. But with each step, the web becomes less of a burden and more of a tool, a map guiding us toward liberation and fulfillment. As we continue this journey, the threads of the web become less tangled, reflecting the clarity and harmony we cultivate within ourselves. The karmic web is always in motion, responding to the energy we weave into it. By bringing awareness to our actions and understanding the lessons they hold, we begin to transform the web into a masterpiece of growth and connection. Every thread, every ripple, and every choice matters. The power to reshape the web lies in your hands. The spider's web, shimmering with the light of dawn, now appears less as a trap and more as a canvas, a masterpiece waiting to be shaped by your conscious hand. Each thread, whether tangled or smooth, tells the story of your journey. It holds the lessons you've learned, the energy you've shared, and the choices you've made. As you stand before this intricate creation, you begin to see its beauty and potential. Recognizing the karmic web is not an act of judgment but one of empowerment. You are not bound by the patterns that once defined your experiences. Instead, you have the power to weave new threads, to create a web that reflects your highest intentions and deepest truths. By observing its patterns, you step into the role of the conscious creator, transforming the web from a cycle of repetition into a path of liberation. Ask yourself, what ripples are you sending into the world today? How can you smooth the threads of your web with actions rooted in awareness and love? The answers lie within, waiting to guide your hands as you shape the energy of your life. The web is yours to weave. Let it be a reflection of the harmony, growth, and connection you seek to create. Chapter 2: The Seeds of Karma. Imagine a vast garden stretching as far as the eye can see, filled with plants of every kind, some blooming with vibrant flowers, others overgrown with thorns. Each plant began as a tiny seed, planted at some point in the past, nurtured either intentionally or unknowingly. This garden, with its beauty and its challenges, is your life, and each seed represents an action, thought, or intention. Some seeds were planted with love and care, and they flourish into joy and abundance. Others were sown out of fear or neglect, and they grow into obstacles and pain. The seeds of karma follow this same principle. Every choice we make, every emotion we harbor, every intention we set plants a seed in the soil of our lives. These seeds do not vanish with time. They lie dormant until the conditions are ripe for growth. As the gardener of your karmic garden, you hold the power to tend to the seeds that will shape your future. But to cultivate a thriving garden, you must first understand the nature of the seeds you've planted and the ones you continue to sow. This chapter invites you to look closely at the seeds of karma in your life. What have you been planting, consciously or unconsciously? What crops are you reaping from the actions of the past? Just as a gardener removes weeds and nurtures the healthiest plants, you have the ability to shape your future by choosing which seeds to water and which to leave behind. Let us step into the role of the conscious gardener and explore how our actions today cultivate the garden of tomorrow. The concept of sowing and reaping is one of the most fundamental truths in the understanding of karma. Every thought, word, and action you engage in is like a seed cast into the fertile soil of the universe. Whether the seed grows into a nourishing fruit tree or a tangle of thorns depends on the intention and energy behind it. The karmic seeds we plant are not bound by the limitations of time. They germinate when conditions are ripe, often long after we have forgotten the moment of their planting. Imagine the story of a farmer who sows two types of seeds in her field, wheat and weeds. The wheat represents her positive intentions, acts of kindness, forgiveness, and efforts to uplift herself and others. The weeds, on the other hand, symbolize the seeds of negativity, anger, jealousy, or self-serving actions. Both types of seeds are given the same sunlight and rain, and eventually, both will grow. The question the farmer must ask herself is, which will I nurture? The answer to this question determines the harvest she will reap. In the context of your life, the seeds you plant are often shaped by the energy behind your intentions. For example, an action motivated by love and compassion plants a seed that is likely to blossom into harmony and goodwill. On the other hand, an action driven by fear, greed, or resentment plants a seed that may grow into discord or hardship. This is why mindfulness of intention is so crucial. It ensures that the seeds you sow align with the life you wish to cultivate. Take a moment to reflect on recurring patterns in your life. Perhaps you notice consistent challenges in your relationships or career. These patterns can often be traced back to seeds planted through past actions or choices. This is not a punishment but an invitation to understand and transform. Just as a garden can be cleared of weeds, your karmic patterns can be redirected through conscious action. It begins with the awareness that you hold the power to choose the seeds you plant moving forward. To transform your karmic garden, you must also examine the conditions in which your seeds are planted. Just as a healthy garden requires fertile soil, your actions thrive when they are nurtured by an environment of positivity and growth. This means surrounding yourself with people, habits, and beliefs that align with the outcomes you wish to manifest. If you plant seeds of joy in an environment of gratitude and optimism, their growth is assured. Conversely, if you sow seeds of hope but allow them to be choked by doubt and fear, their potential will wither. Moreover, it's important to recognize that some seeds are inherited. Just as we might inherit a garden from our ancestors, we also carry karmic influences passed down through generations. These inherited seeds, cultural beliefs, familial habits, or ancestral traumas, can shape the starting point of our karmic garden. While you cannot control the seeds that were planted before you, you can control how you tend to them. By consciously nurturing positive growth and clearing away inherited weeds, you can break cycles of karmic repetition. Consider also the importance of patience. Just as a gardener does not expect to see a sprout the day after planting, you must allow time for the seeds of your intentions to grow. This requires trust in the process and the willingness to nurture your efforts even when immediate results are not visible. Each time you choose kindness over anger, persistence over despair, or courage over fear, you are planting seeds that may take years to bloom but will ultimately transform your life. Lastly, the act of sowing new seeds does not negate the presence of old ones. Some weeds may still emerge, even as you cultivate a more conscious garden. These are remnants of past actions that require attention and resolution. Instead of fearing their growth, use them as reminders of the power you have to make new choices. Every weed pulled is an opportunity to plant something better in its place. Your karmic garden is not static. It is a living, evolving creation. The more intentional you are about the seeds you plant today, the more aligned your future will be with your highest self. By understanding the nature of your karmic seeds and choosing consciously, you step into the role of the master gardener, shaping a life filled with abundance, love, and peace. As you walk through the metaphorical garden of your life, consider what you see. Are there vibrant flowers blooming, cultivated by acts of kindness and care? Or do you find patches overrun with weeds, perhaps left untended or sown unknowingly by fear or impatience? Whatever the state of your garden, it is not fixed. The beauty of karma is its responsiveness to intentional effort. With every choice, you have the power to reshape your garden, nurturing seeds of positivity and clearing away what no longer serves you. Return to the image of the gardener who chooses her focus. The wheat and the weeds may grow side by side, but it is her attention and care that determine the harvest. Similarly, by tending to the seeds of your intentions, nurturing love, forgiveness, and conscious action, you ensure that these are the plants that thrive in your karmic field. Even the weeds have their lessons, serving as reminders of where awareness and transformation are needed most. As you reflect on the seeds you've planted and those you continue to sow, ask yourself, what do I wish to grow in the garden of my life? What actions, thoughts, and emotions align with this vision? And what weeds am I ready to release to create space for growth? These questions are the tools of the Master Gardener, guiding you toward a future that reflects your highest aspirations. Your karmic garden is an evolving masterpiece, shaped by your hands and intentions. How will you tend it today? The karmic mirror reflects not only our actions but also the unseen corners of our inner world, the beliefs, emotions, and desires that shape how we experience life. Imagine standing before a vast, pristine mirror. It captures not just your physical form but the subtleties of your energy, reflecting back your strengths, fears, and unresolved emotions. Karma functions much like this mirror, offering a clear but often unflattering view of what lies beneath the surface. In daily life, the karmic mirror shows up in the form of recurring patterns and challenges. These external circumstances are not random. They are reflections of our internal states. For example, someone who struggles to trust others may find themselves surrounded by situations that test or betray their trust. This is not a punishment but an opportunity to examine the root cause, whether it is a fear of vulnerability or a past wound, and to address it with awareness. The mirror does not distort or judge, it simply reveals. This reflective quality of karma can be both illuminating and humbling. Consider the story of a young artist who dreams of recognition but constantly compares herself to others. Despite her talent, she attracts criticism and struggles to find satisfaction in her work. The karmic mirror reflects her inner self-doubt and the need to validate her worth externally. Only when she begins to nurture self-acceptance and create for the joy of expression does the reflection shift, and she starts receiving genuine appreciation. Karma's mirror also teaches us to embrace duality. Just as light creates shadow, our greatest strengths often lie beside our deepest vulnerabilities. A person who is fiercely independent may also struggle to ask for help. These contrasts are not flaws but reminders of our humanity. When we recognize and integrate these opposing forces, we step closer to wholeness. The mirror does not ask us to be perfect, it asks us to be honest. The challenge for most of us lies in accepting what the karmic mirror reveals. When faced with difficult circumstances, it is tempting to blame external factors or avoid deeper introspection. However, the mirror invites us to turn inward. Why did this situation arise? What does it teach about my beliefs, choices, or fears? These questions shift us from victimhood to empowerment, giving us the tools to rewrite our karmic narrative. It is important to note that while karma reflects our inner state, it does so without bias. The mirror is neutral, showing what is rather than what we wish to see. This neutrality is a gift, as it removes the burden of self-judgment. The goal is not to criticize what the mirror shows but to understand and grow from it. Just as a dancer uses a mirror to perfect their movements, we can use karma to refine our actions and align with our highest values. For those who are ready to work with the karmic mirror, mindfulness becomes an essential tool. Through meditation and self-reflection, you can begin to notice the patterns in your thoughts and behaviors that are mirrored in your external reality. Journaling can also be a powerful practice. Writing down recurring experiences and exploring their emotional roots often reveals connections between your inner world and outer circumstances. For example, a pattern of failed relationships might lead to an insight about fear of intimacy or a need for control. Healing through the karmic mirror requires both courage and compassion. It is not enough to identify the patterns, you must also be willing to release them. This might involve forgiving yourself for past mistakes, letting go of harmful beliefs, or choosing actions that align with love and integrity. Each step you take towards self-awareness alters the reflection, creating a ripple effect that extends to your relationships, choices, and experiences. Ultimately, the karmic mirror is a guide, not a judge. Its purpose is not to trap you in cycles of regret or guilt, but to illuminate the path toward growth. By facing what the mirror reveals with honesty and grace, you gain the clarity to step out of repetitive patterns and into a life that reflects your highest potential. Each reflection is an opportunity, a moment to pause, adjust, and move forward with renewed purpose. As you stand before the karmic mirror, consider the stories it has shown you, the triumphs and challenges, the light and the shadow. What have these reflections revealed about your inner world? Perhaps they have shown you the depth of your strength or highlighted fears that still need healing. Whatever the image, remember that the mirror reflects not to condemn but to guide. It is a tool for awareness, a window into the soul's dialogue with the universe. Think of the mirror not as a fixed image but as a living reflection. Each thought you nurture, each choice you make, adds a brushstroke to the masterpiece of your life. The beauty of karma is that the reflection evolves as you do. A moment of forgiveness or a shift in perspective can transform what you see. The mirror's gift lies in its neutrality. It offers you the freedom to change your reflection without judgment or resistance. In this chapter, you have explored how the karmic mirror reveals patterns, emotions, and beliefs that shape your reality. Now, the question arises, how will you use this awareness? Will you view the reflection as an obstacle, or will you embrace it as an invitation to grow? The power lies in your willingness to look deeply, to accept what you find, and to create anew. As you step away from the mirror, carry its lessons with you. What reflections will you rewrite today? What truths will you embrace to align with your highest self? The karmic mirror is not just a tool. It is a portal to transformation, offering you the clarity to break cycles and walk the path of conscious creation. Chapter 4. The Wheel of Samsara. Imagine a carousel spinning endlessly, its painted horses circling in an unchanging loop. The music plays on, drawing riders into its hypnotic rhythm. At first, the carousel feels magical, a place of wonder and joy. But as time passes, the repetitive motion becomes wearisome. No matter how many times the horses rise and fall, the carousel never progresses. It is a perfect metaphor for the cycle of samsara, the karmic wheel of birth, death, and rebirth. Samsara, often referred to as the wheel of suffering, captures the essence of repetitive patterns that dominate human existence. These cycles are not confined to lifetimes but manifest in daily life as recurring emotional struggles, behavioral habits, or relational dynamics. The wheel's momentum is driven by attachment, ignorance, and aversion, forces that keep us locked in familiar yet limiting experiences. But what if you could step off the carousel? What if you could recognize the cycles for what they are and find a way to move beyond them? This chapter invites you to pause, observe the spinning wheel of samsara, and understand the mechanisms that keep it turning. Only through awareness can you find the courage to step off and experience the freedom of new possibilities. Samsara is not a prison, but a teacher, showing us the lessons we must learn to transcend. The key lies in recognizing that the carousel's motion is powered by our own choices. To stop its spin, we must change the rhythm of our inner world. The concept of samsara, often described as the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, extends far beyond physical lifetimes. It encapsulates the repetitive patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior that bind us to familiar but limiting experiences. This karmic wheel is not inherently punitive, it is a mechanism of learning and evolution. Each revolution offers an opportunity to break free by understanding the patterns that keep us spinning. At its core, samsara is powered by three primary forces: attachment, ignorance, and aversion. Attachment binds us to fleeting pleasures or possessions, convincing us that happiness lies outside ourselves. Ignorance blinds us to the transient nature of these attachments, while aversion causes us to resist pain and discomfort, perpetuating our struggles. Together, these forces create the inertia that keeps the wheel of samsara turning. Picture a carousel, its circular motion driven by a mechanical rhythm. Each painted horse represents a familiar pattern or habit. Some horses are adorned with joy and success, while others carry sorrow or failure. Yet, regardless of their appearance, they all travel the same path, endlessly repeating. This is the nature of samsara, a journey that feels varied and vibrant, yet ultimately leads nowhere new unless we consciously intervene. Recognizing samsara begins with mindfulness. Just as you might step back from a spinning carousel to observe its movement, you must cultivate awareness of your inner and outer life. What patterns recur in your relationships? Which emotions or reactions surface repeatedly in similar situations? Perhaps it is the cycle of striving for success, followed by burnout, or the endless repetition of arguments with loved ones about the same issues. These patterns are your personal samsara, showing you where growth and liberation are needed. The Buddhist tradition often uses the metaphor of the 12 links of dependent origination to illustrate samsara's mechanics. These links describe the chain of events, from ignorance to craving to clinging, that perpetuates suffering. For example, ignorance may cause you to crave validation, leading to actions that seek approval from others. When this approval is fleeting, as it often is, the cycle begins anew, creating frustration and dissatisfaction. Breaking free requires interrupting these habitual links. Consider the example of craving validation. Instead of seeking external affirmation, you might pause and ask, what inner void am I trying to fill? Can I offer myself the validation I seek? This moment of inquiry disrupts the cycle, creating space for a new response. Over time, these disruptions weaken the wheel's momentum, allowing it to slow and eventually stop. Meditation is a powerful tool for stepping off the karmic wheel. By observing your thoughts and emotions without attachment or aversion, you begin to see them for what they are, temporary and insubstantial. This awareness fosters detachment, not in the sense of indifference, but as freedom from the grip of compulsive patterns. In this state, you are no longer a passive rider on the carousel but an active participant in your journey. Another way to transcend samsara is by cultivating equanimity, the ability to remain balanced amid life's ups and downs. Imagine standing at the center of the spinning carousel rather than riding one of its horses. From this vantage point, the motion no longer controls you. You see the patterns clearly, but you are not entangled in them. Equanimity allows you to engage with life fully while maintaining the clarity to choose your responses wisely. Samsara also teaches that growth often arises from discomfort. The carousel's repetitive motion becomes unbearable only when you desire change. This discomfort is a signal, urging you to confront the patterns that limit your potential. Rather than avoiding or numbing the pain, use it as a catalyst for transformation. Ask yourself, what lesson does this discomfort hold? How can I grow through it? Stepping off the karmic wheel does not mean abandoning life's responsibilities or pleasures. Instead, it is about transforming your relationship with them. You learn to enjoy life's offerings without clinging and to face its challenges without resistance. This balanced approach frees you from samsara's grip, allowing you to create a life guided by intention and awareness rather than compulsion. Ultimately, samsara is not an external force imposing suffering upon you. It is an internal mechanism shaped by your choices, beliefs, and perceptions. By observing these patterns, questioning their origins, and choosing differently, you become the architect of your destiny. The carousel may continue to spin, but you are no longer a captive rider. Instead, you stand in stillness, empowered by the awareness that you hold the key to your liberation. The carousel, once mesmerizing in its endless motion, no longer holds the same sway over you. By stepping back and observing its rhythm, you have begun to see its patterns for what they are, opportunities for growth disguised as repetition. The horses, painted with the colors of your experiences, are no longer destinations but markers of where you have been. As you learn to recognize the forces that drive the carousel's spin, you realize that its power lies not in the mechanism itself, but in your choice to ride it. Samsara, the wheel of repetitive cycles, is both a teacher and a mirror. It reflects the lessons you have yet to master and the freedom you have yet to claim. Each revolution offers you a choice: to remain on the ride or to step off and chart a new path. Awareness is the first step toward liberation, for only by seeing the wheel can you choose to stop spinning with it. As you step off the carousel, the world seems different, not because it has changed, but because you have. The patterns that once dictated your life now serve as reminders of your power to choose. With every conscious decision, you weaken the pull of samsara, moving closer to a life guided by intention and awareness. What repetitive patterns in your life have you begun to recognize? How can stepping off the karmic carousel create the space you need for transformation? These questions are your invitation to pause, reflect, and take the next step toward liberation. Remember, the carousel may continue to spin, but your journey need not revolve around it. Instead, you can walk freely, guided by the wisdom gained from observing its motion. Chapter 5. Karmic Debt, the Weight of the Past. Imagine a traveler ascending a steep mountain path, burdened by a heavy backpack filled with stones. With each step, the weight slows their progress, making the journey feel endless. They pause occasionally, shifting the load, trying to find balance, but the stones remain. This is the essence of karmic debt, a collection of unresolved actions, choices, and emotions from the past that we carry forward, impacting our present and shaping our future. Karmic debt is not a punishment but a natural result of energy seeking balance. Every action, whether motivated by kindness or harm, leaves an imprint, much like footprints on a trail. Over time, these imprints accumulate, forming patterns that influence your experiences and relationships. Some stones in your backpack might represent your own actions, moments where fear, anger, or selfishness clouded your judgment. Others may symbolize inherited burdens, the residue of ancestral karma passed down through generations. The weight of karmic debt often manifests in repeating struggles, strained relationships, or feelings of stagnation. It whispers questions like, "Why does this keep happening to me?" Or, "What am I meant to learn from this?" To lighten the load, one must first acknowledge its presence and understand its origins. Just as the traveler must open the backpack to examine its contents, you must look within to identify the stones you carry and the lessons they hold. This chapter invites you to explore the nature of karmic debt, not as an insurmountable burden but as a call to healing and balance. Through reflection, forgiveness, and conscious action, you can begin to release the weight, transforming these stones into stepping stones on your path to freedom. The climb may be challenging, but each step brings you closer to the summit, where the view is unclouded by the shadows of the past. Are you ready to open your backpack and examine the stones within? Karmic debt is both a teacher and a mirror, reflecting the lessons we have yet to learn and the energies we must balance. To understand this concept fully, it's essential to explore the roots of karmic debt, how it manifests, and the paths to release its grip. At its core, karmic debt is the energetic residue of past actions and their consequences. Unlike physical debt, which is measured in monetary terms, Karmic debt is an accumulation of imbalances created by unkind actions, unresolved emotions, or unmet responsibilities. Each action, whether born from love or fear, creates an energetic ripple. Positive actions generate uplifting ripples that integrate seamlessly into the flow of the universe, while harmful actions create disruptions that seek resolution. This unresolved energy is what we carry forward as karmic debt, influencing our lives until balance is restored. For many, karmic debt is experienced as patterns of struggle or repetitive circumstances. Perhaps you find yourself in the same type of relationship dynamic, one that feels draining or unfulfilling. Or you may face recurring challenges in your career or financial life, as though an unseen force is keeping you from breaking through. These patterns are not punishments but invitations to examine the underlying energies driving them. What fears, beliefs, or actions contributed to these recurring themes? What lesson lies hidden within them? Inherited karmic debt adds another layer of complexity. This form of karma is not the direct result of your actions but a legacy passed through familial or ancestral lines. For example, unresolved grief or patterns of scarcity experienced by previous generations may manifest as burdens in your own life, shaping your experiences until the chain is broken. Recognizing these inherited influences requires compassion and a willingness to embrace healing not just for yourself, but for those who came before you. The weight of karmic debt often feels most profound in relationships. Consider the people who trigger deep emotional reactions, whether love, anger, or sorrow. These individuals are often karmic mirrors, reflecting unresolved aspects of your inner self. A relationship fraught with conflict may be a space where unbalanced energies are seeking resolution. A bond filled with unconditional support may be the result of karmic harmony, a balance restored through acts of kindness in the past. Understanding this dynamic allows you to approach each relationship as an opportunity to grow and realign. To begin the process of releasing karmic debt, awareness is key. Like the traveler examining the stones in their backpack, you must identify the burdens you carry. Start by reflecting on areas of your life that feel heavy or resistant to change. What emotions arise when you think about these struggles? Are they tied to a specific person, event, or belief? Writing these reflections down can bring clarity, allowing hidden patterns to surface. Forgiveness is perhaps the most powerful tool for releasing karmic debt. This includes forgiving others for harm they may have caused and forgiving yourself for past actions rooted in ignorance or fear. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior but about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment. When you forgive, you transform the weight of karmic stones into a lightness that allows forward movement. Conscious action is the next step. This means choosing to act in ways that create balance and harmony, rather than perpetuating the cycles of the past. If you recognize a pattern of neglecting your needs in relationships, commit to setting boundaries and practicing self-care. If you see a tendency to act from fear in financial decisions, cultivate a mindset of abundance and trust. Each intentional action becomes a step toward balance, a repayment of karmic debt that empowers rather than burdens. Healing inherited karma may require deeper introspection and rituals of release. Practices such as ancestral meditations, where you visualize sending love and light to your lineage, can bring resolution to generational wounds. Engaging in symbolic acts, like planting a tree or writing a letter of release, helps to shift the energy from stagnation to flow. As you lighten your karmic load, you may notice a shift in your external circumstances. The relationships that once felt tense may begin to ease. Opportunities that seemed elusive may suddenly appear. This is not magic but the natural result of energetic alignment. When the weight of the past no longer drags you down, your vibration rises, drawing in experiences that match this newfound lightness. Karmic debt, while often viewed as a burden, is a profound opportunity for transformation. Each stone you carry holds a lesson, and each lesson brings you closer to freedom. By embracing awareness, forgiveness, and conscious action, you can turn the weight of the past into the wings of your future. The mountain may be steep, but with each step, the view becomes more breathtaking, a reminder of the strength and resilience within you. Are you ready to continue your ascent? The stones we carry are not just burdens but reminders of the journeys we've traversed, the lessons we've encountered, and the resilience that has shaped us. Karmic debt, when seen through the lens of growth, becomes less of a weight and more of a gift, an invitation to transform what feels heavy into something luminous. Consider the image of a traveler, pausing by a stream to empty their pack. Each stone pulled from its depths is a story, a memory, a choice. Some stones are smooth, shaped by the forgiveness already extended, while others are jagged, representing wounds yet to heal. Yet with each release, the traveler's burden lightens, and the steps ahead feel freer. This is the power of recognizing and addressing karmic debt. It allows us to walk forward with clarity and grace. The relationships and patterns that once felt like cycles of repetition begin to dissolve as understanding and forgiveness take root. The heaviness of inherited burdens lessens as you consciously choose healing for yourself and your lineage. Acts of kindness, intentional living, and mindful reflection create ripples that balance the scales of karma, not just for you, but for the greater web of existence. As you step forward, ask yourself, which stones are you ready to set down? How might releasing this weight allow you to move toward the life you envision? Each act of forgiveness, every moment of self-awareness, and each step toward intentional action is a repayment of karmic debt and a declaration of your freedom. Remember, the journey toward lightness is not one of perfection but of progress. The beauty lies not in the absence of challenges but in your ability to face them with courage, compassion, and the knowledge that you are both the bearer and the architect of your karmic story. What will you choose to carry forward, and what will you release to the stream? Chapter 6. The Shadow of Resistance. Resistance often feels like an invisible barrier, an unseen force that pulls us back just when we attempt to leap forward. Imagine standing in front of a radiant light and noticing the shadow it casts behind you. The shadow moves as you move, never separate, yet it exists only because of the light. In much the same way, resistance arises as a reflection of your potential. It is the shadow born from the brilliance of your aspirations and the call to transform. Resistance shows up in the form of doubt, fear, procrastination, or avoidance. It whispers that the steps are too difficult, the risks too great, or the outcome uncertain. Yet, resistance is not an enemy. It is a guide, illuminating the areas within that need your attention. It invites you to ask, what part of me is creating this shadow? What light within me is casting it? Throughout life, resistance manifests whenever we stand at the threshold of growth, daring to break free from old karmic cycles and step into something new. It is not a sign of weakness but an indicator of strength, proof that you are pushing against the edges of your comfort zone. When faced with resistance, the choice is not to fight it but to understand it, to let the light of awareness dissolve the shadows it casts. This chapter will explore resistance as both a natural part of the karmic journey and a transformative tool. By facing resistance, you uncover the lessons it seeks to teach, allowing it to serve as a bridge rather than a barrier. What would happen if you turned toward the shadow instead of away from it? How might embracing resistance lead you to deeper self-discovery and liberation? Together, let us uncover the alchemy of light and shadow, and the freedom that lies beyond resistance. Resistance is often misunderstood as an obstacle to be overcome, yet its true nature reveals a more profound role in our journey. To navigate resistance, we must first redefine it, not as a hindrance, but as a reflection of the inner work required to transcend karmic cycles. Imagine resistance as a shadow cast by the brilliance of your potential. It exists not to block your progress, but to draw attention to areas where your energy and awareness are most needed. Resistance arises when there is a conflict between where you are and where you aspire to be. It is the ego's way of clinging to familiarity, even when that familiarity no longer serves you. Fear of failure, fear of success, and fear of change all create resistance, binding you to repetitive karmic patterns. These fears whisper that staying in the known is safer than venturing into the unknown. However, resistance is not the absence of courage, it is the doorway through which courage must walk. Resistance often manifests as procrastination, self-doubt, or avoidance. For example, you may notice yourself delaying an important decision or convincing yourself that you are not ready to act. These moments are not signs of failure but invitations to explore what lies beneath. What beliefs or past experiences are shaping this resistance? What part of your inner self is asking to be heard and healed? Facing resistance requires an act of surrender, a willingness to acknowledge its presence without judgment. Much like a shadow cannot exist without light, resistance cannot exist without your inner radiance. When you approach resistance with curiosity instead of frustration, you allow it to reveal its message. Consider the metaphor of the shadow cast by a flame. The closer you move to the light, the larger and more distinct the shadow becomes. Similarly, as you move closer to your goals, resistance may intensify. This is not a sign to stop but a sign that you are on the right path. By turning toward resistance and embracing it as part of the process, you begin to understand its origins and lessen its power over you. Every instance of resistance holds a lesson. Perhaps it asks you to examine limiting beliefs that no longer align with your aspirations. Perhaps it points to unresolved fears that need healing before you can move forward. Resistance teaches patience, self-compassion, and the value of persistence. It reminds you that growth is not linear but a process of ebb and flow, requiring both effort and rest. To learn from resistance, you must first listen to it. What is it asking of you? Sometimes resistance signals a need for deeper alignment between your intentions and actions. At other times, it highlights areas of imbalance. Perhaps you are trying to force progress when stillness is needed, or you are clinging to perfectionism instead of allowing imperfection to guide you. Awareness is the key to transforming resistance into growth. When you shine the light of awareness on resistance, its hold begins to dissolve. Start by observing your resistance without labeling it as good or bad. Notice where it resides in your body. Is it a tightness in your chest, a heaviness in your shoulders, or a restless energy in your mind? Name it, acknowledge it, and allow it to exist without resistance to the resistance itself. Journaling is a powerful tool for this process. Write down the fears or doubts that arise when you encounter resistance. Ask yourself questions such as, what am I afraid of losing or gaining if I move forward? And, what is the worst that could happen if I take this step? By putting these thoughts on paper, you externalize them, creating space to see them objectively. Resistance often feels like an insurmountable barrier, yet it can be reframed as an ally. Instead of viewing resistance as something that holds you back, see it as a guide pointing you toward areas that need attention. For example, if you feel resistance toward pursuing a particular goal, ask yourself why this goal matters to you. Is it aligned with your highest values, or is it driven by external expectations? Resistance can help clarify your intentions, ensuring they come from a place of authenticity. Moreover, resistance can serve as a measure of significance. The areas where resistance is strongest often correspond to the areas of greatest potential growth. Much like a seed must break through the soil to reach the sunlight, your growth requires effort and persistence to push through resistance. To transform resistance into momentum, take small, intentional steps toward your goals. Break tasks into manageable pieces and celebrate each small victory along the way. Resistance thrives on overwhelm, but it diminishes when faced with consistent, steady progress. Visualization is another powerful tool. Imagine yourself moving through resistance with ease, much like a river flows around a rock. See yourself on the other side of the challenge, feeling the fulfillment and joy of overcoming it. This mental rehearsal shifts your energy from fear to confidence, aligning your vibration with the outcome you desire. When you confront resistance, you begin to see the light beyond the shadow it casts. Resistance becomes not a force to be feared but a sign of your inner strength and commitment to growth. It reminds you that the path of transformation is not about erasing shadows but about integrating them, using their presence to illuminate the light within. As you face resistance with courage and compassion, you break free from the karmic cycles it perpetuates. You learn that the shadows of resistance are temporary, and beyond them lies the freedom to create a life aligned with your highest self. The question is no longer, how do I avoid resistance? But, how can I embrace it as part of my journey toward liberation? Imagine standing at the edge of a dense forest, the path ahead obscured by shadows cast by towering trees. Resistance, like these shadows, is a natural part of the landscape. It may seem daunting, but as you take steps forward, the light begins to filter through the branches, illuminating the way. Resistance is not an impenetrable wall but a guidepost, marking where your greatest growth lies. Through the journey of turning toward resistance, you have learned to see it not as a hindrance but as a mirror reflecting your inner doubts, fears, and desires. Its presence is not a sign of failure but of proximity to something meaningful. Every shadow of resistance holds a spark of potential, a hidden treasure waiting to be uncovered. By acknowledging and embracing this shadow, you bring light to areas that have long remained in the dark. As you continue this journey, consider what resistance is asking of you in this moment. What fears or beliefs need to be faced and transformed? How can you shift from avoidance to awareness, from stagnation to action? Remember, the energy you invest in resisting change can be redirected into creating momentum. With each step forward, the shadow shrinks and the path becomes clearer. Resistance will always arise at the threshold of transformation. It is the signpost of the unknown. Yet, as you have discovered, moving through it is the key to breaking karmic cycles and reclaiming your power. The forest of resistance, once feared, becomes a sacred space of self-discovery, a place where you learn to trust your strength and courage. Ask yourself, what shadows of resistance are present in your life right now? How can you bring awareness and compassion to these shadows to transform them into stepping stones for growth? As you navigate this sacred terrain, let the light within you illuminate the way forward, knowing that every shadow you embrace brings you closer to the truth of who you are. If this audiobook is sparking new insights for you, show some love by hitting like and subscribing. Let me know in the comments what resonates with you the most so far. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we go deeper. Chapter 7. The Alchemy of Forgiveness. Imagine an ancient crucible, sitting atop a glowing fire, transforming dull, base metals into gleaming gold. This is the art of alchemy, a mysterious, transformative process that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. Forgiveness, like alchemy, holds the power to transmute the heavy, raw materials of resentment and pain into lightness and liberation. It is an ancient key that unlocks the chains binding us to repetitive karmic patterns, freeing us to move forward with clarity and grace. Many of us carry karmic weights in the form of unresolved emotions or lingering grudges, whether toward others or ourselves. These weights, like unrefined metals, limit our potential and keep us tethered to cycles of pain and repetition. Yet within each moment, there exists an opportunity to transform these burdens. Forgiveness does not condone or erase the actions that caused harm but instead allows us to reclaim the energy trapped in anger or regret and redirect it toward growth and healing. This chapter invites you to step into the role of the inner alchemist, one who courageously confronts the raw emotions of hurt and resentment and works to refine them into compassion and wisdom. Through forgiveness, we transmute karmic energy and release ourselves from patterns that no longer serve us, opening the door to a more expansive, liberated existence. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as a passive act or an absolution of wrongdoing. In truth, it is an act of profound empowerment, allowing us to reclaim our energy from the past and redirect it toward the present moment. Imagine holding onto a heavy chain, each link representing a hurtful experience or unresolved grudge. The longer you grip this chain, the more it weighs you down, sapping your strength and limiting your ability to move forward. Forgiveness is not about pretending the chain never existed. It is about choosing to let go of it and walk unencumbered toward freedom. At its core, forgiveness is an act of alchemy. Just as a crucible's heat transforms base metals into gold, the heat of our conscious effort burns away the impurities of anger, shame, or guilt, leaving behind the pure essence of understanding and compassion. This transformation begins with recognizing the harm we carry and its effects on our lives. Acknowledging pain without judgment is the first step in alchemy, identifying the base material we seek to transmute. The next step is intention. Forgiveness cannot be forced or rushed. It arises from an inner willingness to release and transform. This willingness may not come all at once. Much like an alchemist carefully tending a flame, we must nurture our intention to forgive, allowing it to grow stronger over time. Each act of self-reflection, each attempt to see a situation from a broader perspective, adds to the crucible's fire. One of the most profound aspects of forgiveness is the recognition that it benefits the forgiver more than anyone else. Holding on to resentment is akin to carrying a hot coal, intending to throw it at another, but only burning yourself in the process. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the toxicity of anger and the heaviness of blame. We allow ourselves to step off the wheel of karmic repetition, where unresolved grievances recreate similar patterns and experiences. Self-forgiveness, too, is a vital part of this alchemical process. Many of us carry guilt or regret over past actions, replaying them in our minds and reinforcing feelings of unworthiness. These inner wounds create energetic blockages that hinder our growth and perpetuate cycles of self-sabotage. By practicing self-forgiveness, we acknowledge our imperfections as part of the human experience and grant ourselves permission to move forward. A powerful tool for cultivating forgiveness is guided meditation. Begin by envisioning a crucible within your heart, glowing with a steady, golden light. Imagine placing the hurts, resentments, or guilt you carry into this crucible. Feel the warmth of the light growing stronger, melting away the impurities of anger and pain, and transforming these heavy emotions into a radiant, golden energy. Allow this energy to expand, filling you with a sense of lightness and liberation. Another practice involves writing a forgiveness letter. This letter can be addressed to someone who has wronged you or to yourself. Pour your feelings onto the page, expressing the pain, anger, or regret you've been holding on to. When you feel ready, write words of release and understanding, even if they are imperfect. The act of writing is itself an alchemical process, turning intangible emotions into tangible words and then releasing them into the world. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation with those who have hurt you. It is an internal process, a gift you give yourself to reclaim your power and peace. As you engage in this alchemical work, you will notice a lightness in your being, a greater sense of freedom, and an ability to approach life with an open heart. Returning to the image of the crucible, imagine it now glowing brightly, filled with liquid gold. This gold represents the transformation that forgiveness brings, an inner treasure of compassion, understanding, and liberation. Through the alchemy of forgiveness, we transmute the dense, unyielding weight of resentment into a luminous energy that fuels our growth and freedom. Consider the chains you've carried in your life. Who or what has held you captive in cycles of pain or anger? What would it feel like to place those chains in the crucible and watch them melt away, leaving behind only the pure essence of wisdom and love? Forgiveness is not about erasing the past but about freeing yourself from its hold, allowing you to move forward with clarity and peace. As you reflect on the process of forgiveness, ask yourself, who or what in your life is asking for release? How can you nurture the intention to forgive, even if the process feels incomplete or imperfect? Remember, forgiveness is not a one-time act but an ongoing practice of liberation and transformation. In the end, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a key that unlocks the door to a freer, more expansive life. By stepping into the role of the inner alchemist, you hold the power to transform your karmic narrative, turning the base metals of pain into the gold of wisdom and peace. Chapter 8. The Power of Intention. Imagine an archer standing poised in a clearing, the bowstring drawn back, the arrow aimed toward a distant target. The archer's every movement is deliberate, the grip on the bow, the steady breath, the focused gaze on the target. In this moment, the entire world fades into the background as the archer pours their intention into a singular act. When the arrow is released, it flies with purpose, guided by the energy of clear focus and unwavering intent. This is the power of intention, a force that directs the trajectory of our lives. Just as the archer's arrow cannot find its mark without a clear aim, our actions and energy cannot align with meaningful outcomes without purposeful intention. In the realm of karma, intention acts as a seed that determines what we sow and eventually reap. It is not merely what we do but the energy and motivation behind our actions that shape the karmic patterns of our lives. Intention is both a compass and a catalyst. It points us toward our desired destination while imbuing our efforts with the energy necessary for manifestation. When harnessed consciously, intention becomes a powerful tool for breaking free from the cycles of karmic repetition, allowing us to create new patterns that reflect our highest values and aspirations. In this chapter, we will explore how to align thought, emotion, and action with intention, creating a karmic blueprint that leads to growth and liberation. By learning to set clear, focused intentions, we can move through life with the clarity and purpose of an archer whose arrow is guided by the energy of a deliberate and conscious aim. Intention is often mistaken for a fleeting desire or wish. However, true intention is far deeper and more powerful. It is a focused energy, a commitment that bridges the gap between thought and action. Imagine a seed planted in fertile soil. For the seed to grow, it needs more than just the potential encoded within it. It needs sunlight, water, and consistent care. Similarly, intention must be nourished by clarity, emotional alignment, and purposeful effort to flourish. The power of intention lies in its ability to shape the energetic currents of our lives. Every action we take originates from an intention, whether conscious or unconscious. When we move through life without examining our intentions, we often find ourselves repeating patterns or pursuing goals that do not truly align with our highest values. Unconscious intentions are like arrows shot without aiming. They may fly, but they rarely hit the mark. To wield the power of intention effectively, we must first cultivate awareness. What drives your actions? Are your intentions rooted in fear, obligation, or ego? Or are they guided by love, growth, and a desire for truth? Consider the archer once more. If their aim is unclear or their focus wavers, the arrow cannot find its target. Similarly, if our intentions are muddled or misaligned, the outcomes we manifest will reflect this confusion. Setting clear and conscious intentions requires introspection. Begin by identifying what truly matters to you. What are your core values? What kind of energy do you want to bring into the world? Writing these intentions down can be a powerful practice, as it helps solidify abstract thoughts into tangible commitments. For example, instead of vaguely wishing for happiness, you might set an intention such as, "I will cultivate joy by practicing gratitude and prioritizing meaningful connections." The next step is emotional alignment. Intention is not solely a mental exercise, it is an energetic act that engages the heart and spirit. When we set an intention, we must infuse it with emotions that resonate with the desired outcome. If your intention is to cultivate peace, but your mind is filled with anxiety and doubt, the energy of your intention will be misaligned. Through practices such as visualization and meditation, you can begin to embody the emotions that reflect your intentions. Action is the final element of a powerful intention. Without action, intention remains a static force, much like an arrow left unshot. Taking action, no matter how small, creates momentum that amplifies the energy of your intention. Consider the metaphor of the arrow. Even the most precisely aimed arrow requires the archer to release the bowstring. Each step you take in alignment with your intention reinforces its energy, bringing it closer to manifestation. One way to integrate intention into your daily life is through the practice of setting morning intentions. Begin each day by asking yourself, "What energy do I want to carry today? What actions can I take to align with this energy?" Writing these intentions in a journal or repeating them as affirmations creates a sense of focus and purpose. Another powerful practice is the intention check-in. Throughout the day, pause and reflect on whether your current actions and mindset align with your intentions. If you notice a disconnect, gently redirect your focus. This practice not only strengthens your ability to stay aligned but also builds self-awareness and accountability. Intention also has a profound impact on karma. When our actions are guided by conscious and positive intentions, we plant seeds that grow into beneficial outcomes. Conversely, when intentions are rooted in selfishness or harm, the karmic seeds we plant often yield challenges and suffering. By choosing intentions that reflect our highest values, we break free from the cycles of negative karma and create a path toward liberation and growth. The power of intention is not about controlling every outcome but about aligning your energy with your purpose. When you approach life with clear, focused intention, you create a magnetic pull that draws opportunities and experiences aligned with your goals. The arrow may not always hit the target perfectly, but the act of aiming and releasing with purpose ensures that each step you take is meaningful and aligned with your true self. Returning to the image of the archer, consider the moment of release. The arrow, once held with steady focus, now flies toward its target, guided by the archer's intention and energy. This act of release symbolizes trust in the aim, the energy, and the process itself. Similarly, when we set an intention, we must release it into the flow of life, trusting that our focused energy will guide it to its destination. What intentions are you currently holding in the bow of your mind? Are they clear and aligned with your deepest values, or do they need refining? How can you infuse your intentions with the emotional energy and purposeful action needed to bring them to life? Intention is both a compass and a catalyst, pointing the way and igniting the spark of transformation. By aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with purposeful intention, you become the archer of your own destiny, capable of shaping your karmic path with clarity and purpose. With each intention you set, you rewrite your karmic story, moving closer to a life that reflects your highest truth. Chapter 9. Liberation through Awareness. Picture a bird perched on the edge of a vast, open sky. The horizon stretches infinitely, yet the bird hesitates, tethered by unseen fears and unbroken patterns. Liberation beckons, but the choice to leap requires awareness of the wings it already possesses. This image mirrors our journey with karma. Freedom is always within reach, but it demands a deep awareness of what binds us and the courage to soar beyond the familiar. Awareness is the light that dissolves the shadows of karmic repetition. It illuminates the choices, patterns, and beliefs that keep us spinning on the wheel of samsara, empowering us to consciously rewrite our narrative. Just as the bird must trust its wings to lift it into the sky, we must trust the power of our awareness to guide us toward liberation. This chapter delves into the profound role of awareness in breaking karmic cycles. It explores how mindful living allows us to see beyond the illusions of separation and repetition, aligning our lives with truth and purpose. By cultivating awareness, we can transcend the patterns that no longer serve us, embracing the freedom to live authentically and intentionally. Awareness, at its essence, is the ability to see clearly, both within and around us. It is the still point from which we observe the flow of thoughts, emotions, and experiences without becoming entangled in them. In the context of karma, awareness serves as the mirror that reflects the intricate patterns we have woven through our actions, intentions, and beliefs. Without awareness, these patterns remain hidden, silently shaping our lives. With awareness, we can name, understand, and transform them. The first step in cultivating awareness is learning to pause. Our lives are often governed by automatic reactions, habits of thought, emotion, and behavior that operate beneath our conscious radar. These reactive patterns are the threads of karmic repetition. Imagine a bird attempting to take flight while tangled in a net. The more it struggles, the more entangled it becomes. Only by pausing and observing the net can the bird begin to free itself. Similarly, pausing creates the space to recognize our entanglements, breaking the momentum of unconscious repetition. One powerful practice for cultivating this pause is mindfulness meditation. By sitting in stillness and observing the breath, we train the mind to remain present and attentive. As thoughts and emotions arise, we learn to witness them without judgment, creating a gap between awareness and reaction. In this gap lies the power to choose, a power that is essential for breaking karmic cycles. Awareness also invites us to examine the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and how the world works. These stories, often inherited or unconsciously adopted, shape our intentions, actions, and perceptions. Are you carrying the belief that you are unworthy of love? That success must come through struggle? That forgiveness is weakness? These beliefs are like invisible cages, keeping us bound to karmic patterns. By bringing them into the light of awareness, we can question their validity and choose new narratives that align with our highest truth. Consider the role of awareness in relationships, a fertile ground for karmic growth and challenge. Patterns of conflict, avoidance, or codependency often stem from unresolved karmic lessons. Without awareness, these patterns perpetuate themselves, leading to repeated cycles of pain and misunderstanding. With awareness, we can pause, reflect, and respond consciously, transforming relationships into spaces of healing and growth. For example, noticing a tendency to react defensively in arguments allows us to choose vulnerability instead, breaking the cycle of blame and creating a foundation for deeper connection. Awareness also reveals the interdependence of all things. The choices we make ripple outward, influencing not only our own karma but also the collective energy of the world. By living mindfully, we align our actions with the values of compassion, integrity, and service, contributing to a karmic ripple that uplifts others. Imagine the bird not only freeing itself but also guiding others caught in the same net toward liberation. Awareness expands our perspective, reminding us that our individual liberation is intertwined with the well-being of all beings. However, awareness is not always comfortable. It often brings us face to face with aspects of ourselves we would rather avoid: our fears, insecurities, and shadows. This discomfort is a necessary part of the journey. Just as the bird must confront the ground below to embrace the freedom of the sky, we must confront the truths we have buried to transcend the patterns that bind us. Shadow work, journaling, and compassionate self-inquiry are tools that support this courageous exploration. As we deepen our awareness, we move from reacting to life to responding to it. This shift transforms karma from a cycle of unconscious cause and effect into a conscious dance of creation. Each moment becomes an opportunity to align with our highest self, to act with intention, and to plant seeds of liberation. Awareness does not erase challenges, but it empowers us to meet them with clarity and grace, turning obstacles into stepping stones on the path to freedom. Living with awareness is not a one-time achievement but a continuous practice. It requires vigilance, patience, and a willingness to begin again. There will be times when we slip back into old patterns or lose sight of our intentions. In these moments, awareness reminds us to return to the present, to observe without judgment, and to choose anew. It is a lifelong journey, but with each step, the wings of our awareness grow stronger, lifting us closer to the open sky of liberation. Returning to the image of the bird on the edge of the sky, imagine the moment it finally takes flight. The air rushes past its wings, the horizon expands, and the world below becomes a tapestry of infinite possibilities. This is the freedom that awareness offers, a freedom born not of escape but of conscious engagement with life. What patterns or beliefs tether you to the ground? How can you use the light of awareness to untangle the threads of repetition and embrace the wings of choice and possibility? Awareness is the key to liberation, the mirror that reveals the truth, and the compass that guides us home to ourselves. By cultivating awareness, you unlock the power to rewrite your karmic story, moving through life with clarity, purpose, and grace. Trust your wings, and let the open sky remind you that freedom is your birthright. As we near the conclusion, if you've been enjoying the audiobook, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Drop a comment below and share your biggest takeaway. Conclusion: writing a new karmic story. Imagine a blank book resting on a table, its pages untouched, illuminated by the soft glow of a golden pen. This book represents your karmic story, both the one you've been living and the one you have yet to write. Every thought, intention, and action becomes a word on the page, shaping the narrative of your life. And while the chapters already written cannot be erased, they can be reframed, understood, and used as a foundation for the new story you wish to create. Throughout this journey, we've explored the intricacies of karma, the cycles it weaves, the lessons it teaches, and the liberation it offers. Karma is neither punishment nor reward. It is the mirror reflecting our choices and the compass guiding us toward growth. Breaking the cycle of repetition requires courage, clarity, and commitment. It asks us to face our shadows, forgive ourselves and others, and align our intentions with our highest values. The beauty of karma lies in its flexibility. It is not a rigid sentence but a dynamic, evolving force that responds to your awareness and actions. Like the glowing pen, you hold the power to write your karmic narrative consciously, to shape a story that reflects your truth, purpose, and infinite potential. The lessons of the past become stepping stones, not chains, as you step into the role of the author of your destiny. As you move forward, remember that every moment offers a new page. Awareness is your guide, intention is your ink, and love is the thread that binds your story together. Trust in the process, knowing that even the challenges you face are opportunities to grow and refine your narrative. Your karmic story is not bound by the past. It is alive with possibility, waiting for you to craft it with care and intention. What story do you wish to tell? How will you use the tools of awareness, forgiveness, and intention to create a life of meaning and liberation? As you close this book, may you feel empowered to step fully into your role as a co-creator, knowing that the blank pages ahead are yours to fill with wisdom, joy, and purpose. The pen is in your hand. Let your light guide the way.